So, hello everyone, and I'm happy to be here and to be heard. I think we have the sound equipment and everything working again. So, it gives me the luxury of repeating myself, which I don't like to do so much, but I'll say what I said yesterday that you didn't hear. So imagine that you're going down a creek someplace in a canoe, and there's a wonderful, gentle, pleasant current which is just carrying you to your destination where you're going. And but it's a narrow creek and lots of trees on the bank and overhanging, and as you go down, it's easy to reach out and touch the branches and even hold on to the branches above, to the side. And you have a passenger, you have someone along with you on the trip. But this person, every occasion, reaches out to hold on to a branch and holds it for a while until the canoe stops and then lets go, and you go a little bit further and hold on, and you go and hold on, and you go. And in this way, it takes a really long time to get anywhere. And so this is an analogy how we can be in our lives. And for now, we'll look at it in terms of meditation. That there's a current that we're in, the current of the present moment, that's always occurring. That in a sense, the future comes into the present and flows into the past. And the present moment is where we witness this constant change, constant transformation, and this unfolding of time. And we could stay there in that current and let it take us where it goes, or we could hold on to the branches. And the branches are our thoughts, our ideas, our feelings that we hold on to, and we end up having retrospective thinking. Something happens and we start thinking about it, and then that's holding on to the branch. We're not in the current anymore. Or we start thinking about something that is completely unrelated in the past or in the future. The past branches, the future branches. Or we start making commentaries and stories and judgments about what's in the present. And those are commentary branches and story branches, judgment branches. And as soon as we hold on to them, we're no longer flowing in the current. And in meditation, we're teaching ourselves, training ourselves to stay in the current and not to hold on to anything that interrupts our ability to stay present for what's happening in the present moment. And one place to train ourselves in this is in the breathing. It could be, with other things, could be sounds, but the breathing is a classic place to train us. And to consider that the constant flow of sensations connected to breathing in the body, that those are the current of the present moment as you experienced it physically. And the idea is to be present, to rest in, to float in those sensations as they flow by. That's the place where we tap into the present moment and the constant change. And then notice when we get pulled away into thought, we're holding onto a branch, and how there's a disconnect if we get lost too much in those thoughts. And the idea is to kind of stay feeling, sensing, resting, knowing, cognizant of the current of breathing, the flow of sensations that come with the in-breath, with the out-breath, wherever in the body you feel the breathing. It doesn't mean you have to stop thinking entirely. It means that the weight of attention is on the breathing, not holding on to the branch. Sometimes the breathing can just be like a branch on the side of the creek that you see and it just goes by. Maybe it brushes even against your shoulder as you go by, if it's a narrow creek. But you don't stop for it. You know it's there, but you don't. You're staying. And for a canoeer, it stays, knows they're floating in the river, just feels the current, stays in it. And that's the center of gravity. That's where the weight of attention is. So, assuming an upright meditation posture, and gently lowering your gaze to about 45 degrees to the floor, and letting your gaze be relaxed, not focusing on anything in particular. And then gently closing your eyes. And gently establishing a connection to the body breathing. Feel the rhythm of the body breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And feeling, knowing the beginning and the end of the inhale. Aware of the beginning and end of the exhale. Being aware of the current of sensations between the beginning and the end of the inhale. Knowing the current of sensations between the beginning and end of the exhale. And feeling the changing sensations of breathing. Take a little bigger breath than usual. And as you exhale, settle into the body breathing. Relax the body as if you're relaxing around the experience of breathing. Letting your breathing come to normal. And for this meditation, trusting attention to breathing. Trusting floating in the current of breathing in and breathing out. Noticing if you grab the branches of thoughts and you're no longer floating, no longer flowing along with the whole experience of breathing in the whole experience of breathing out. Staying there, resting, sensing, knowing. The full experience in time of breathing as it's occurring. thinking has a flow and a movement from one thought to the other. See if you can switch your allegiance from the flow of thinking to the flow of breathing, letting thinking recede to the background. And let yourself be carried along in the current of the present moment that appears with every sensation of breathing. And then as we come to the end of this sitting, to take a few moments to appreciate whatever degree of calm, peace you might feel. And if there is no calm and peace, what you might have understood about your mind's tendency to hold on to branches, and what you might learn from letting go of the branches, even if it's momentary. Being present, the flow of the present moment. And letting that be a place upon which to gaze upon others kindly, to look upon the world with the calm, peaceful eyes, not filtered by the attachments and fears we might have. To feel fortunate to have the ability to sit quietly and meditate. And think of this meditation as a foundation for going into the world with care and love, kindness, friendliness. May this meditation practice we do be a preparation for living a wise and caring life. May the peace of our meditation spread from us out into the world. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. So today we come to the next exercise of the discourse on the establishment of awareness, for establishing awareness. And this is called, sometimes it's called the 6 sense spheres. And it refers to being mindful at each of the sense doors. So the 6 sense doors are eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and its tactile abilities to know, to feel, and the mind door. So it's as if we have an eye or a organ of perception that recognizes that we're thinking, that we have emotions, the activities of the mind, and that organ of perception is considered one of the 6 senses. And and so the text itself begins with a very simple statement. It builds on it. It says that one knows there are sight objects, things that we can see, and we know that there's the eye. And this simple statement is the beginning of mindfulness, a kind of certain kind of emphasis of mindfulness, which is very much centered in the present moment, in the direct experience of the senses. So, not anticipating the future or remembering the past, but right here in the moment, so that if you're hearing, you might hear the spell. If you're seeing what's in front of you in the moment that you're seeing. And it begins with sight. Many years ago, when I was going to the monastery, I went to the monastery, the Zen monastery at Tassajara. I was there for a little while, and I noticed something unusual about seeing. And that was that I would look at a tree, and I saw the tree, kind of, and I was aware of myself looking. I was aware of the eyes kind of engaged in the process of looking. And then I noticed that in between, maybe it's almost what it felt like in between, was my ideas of the tree. It was almost as if I was painting the concept tree on top of the tree. The concept was accurate enough, so ordinarily I would have not have thought twice about, there was anything more than seeing that tree. I became acutely aware of how there was an act of conception, act of interpretation, act of projection onto the tree. And so there was the object of seeing, the eyes that see, and something in between. It could be the judgments, it could be our stories we have, our ideas we have of what's there. It could be our bias that we project onto something. And so we don't see things directly as they are. We often see them through the filter of something. So in mindfulness practice, it's possible to become aware of this filter, this thing that's in between. But it begins by learning to appreciate the simple moment of sense awareness. And so one of the sense stores is seeing. And it's a wonderful exercise, a wonderful capacity to learn how to look with quiet eyes, relaxed eyes, and to look without the agenda, without the wanting mind looking for something, or the scared mind looking for danger, looking how to be safe. But to have a very cool, calm, quiet eyes that gaze in a relaxed way. And I believe in the ancient world, in the ancient Buddhist world, they sometimes had the idea that the eyes, rather than light coming into the eyes, it's more like somehow the eyes go out to touch the object out there, to grab the object. And certainly I felt sometimes if I'm really intense on wanting something or afraid of something or curious about something, I can almost feel like my head goes forward, almost like my eyes open more, and like my eyeballs are kind of like popping out a little bit to see what's that. And or I might be straining, trying to really look at something carefully and minutely and try to make sense of it, and I could feel the strain in my eyes. One of the wonderful ways to practice mindfulness is to have a reference point, is to learn how to let awareness of seeing be calm, be easeful. And generally, in a relaxed, easy eyesight, the eyes, it doesn't have to be conscious even, but the eyes are slightly moving around. the eyes are not held fixed. Fixedly held eyes strain and get tired, but relaxed eyes are eyes that it's kind of like they float in the eye socket, and they're kind of like looking a little bit here and there. Or if you're looking at a particular object, it's kind of maybe looking at the perimeter, looking at different pieces of it, just kind of roam. The eyes roam around. And to allow the eyes to roam gently can release a lot of stress, a lot of fixation in the mind. Because when the eyes roam, it's kind of little and kind of look at different things. It's kind of more difficult for the mind to stay fixated on its preoccupation. And the more fixated we are in our inner concerns or thoughts, the more the eyes tend to be held tight or don't have that floating feeling. And so one of the ways to do this in mindfulness of seeing is to settle back and allow sights to come to you. Don't go looking for anything. See, but don't look. The difference being that looking is an active, intentional act to look for something. Someone might say, look over there, and then you look. But people don't say, see over there. They might say, what do you see? And it's not necessarily a request to go looking, but just to, if your eyes are in that direction, what comes to your eyes, what comes into awareness. So one of the ways to cultivate mindfulness and develop it is at each of the 6 sense doors, and begin to appreciate a relaxed, quiet way of receiving the sensations at the particular sense door. So today, through seeing. And just that is a wonderful exercise. If I've had the fortune of maybe being a passenger in a car, for me it's even better a bus or a train, and just let the eyes gaze out in the countryside or the scenery around you as you're driving, and let the eyes just kind of be float and look and relax, and don't hold on to anything. Just keep the eyes soft. And it's when I was a teenager, I used to get very calm looking out train windows and just looking at things going by. So that's very nice, maybe. And then the exercise in this exercise on the 6 sense doors is to know the object that we're seeing, to know we're seeing something, to know the eyes, and to be able to see in a relaxed way. But then to notice one of the things that's in between. And the particular thing that this exercise is about is to notice the knot, the K-N-O-T. It's sometimes translated into English as the fetter, but I think the word in Pali, I think it's better rendered as the word knot. I think fetter kind of implies that we're fettered, we're hindered by something, which is true. A knot means we're knotted up in it, we're entangled with it. And I myself personally prefer the language of entanglement or being knotted up in something. And so if I have some problem with my computer, my eyesight is knotted up, tangled in trying to figure it out and what's going on here and looking, and my eyes are not relaxed. I'm not just gazing at the issue and letting some kind of quiet inner exploration try to figure it out. I might be entangled and caught in the issue that I have. And so it's possible to become aware that there's the object we see, there's the eyes that are seeing, and then there's kind of in between. Some of you might have more sense that it's in the mind, behind the eyes or something, but then between the two, there's in addition to the two, there's the way we're knotted up. Those things are entangled with each other. That are ways, the way that we're looking is not relaxed and easeful, but we're looking in a way that is caught or preoccupied or concerned with what we're looking at. And it becomes stressful in the eyes. Eyes become locked, they get tight, they'll get tired. They've lost this relaxed way of being. So one of the reasons to cultivate mindfulness of seeing is to learn, develop capacity for this relaxed gaze, so that we become more sensitive to the knots when they occur. And so this is not like an incidental exercise that the Buddha is giving, but rather it's another perspective from which we can become aware of all the ways we get attached. Every attachment is an attachment at sense doors, at some particular sense door. And as we become aware of each of the different sense doors, it's a different kind of angle to become aware of attachment itself. So sometimes it's with what we see, sometimes with what we hear, taste, smell, touch, and then the mind door is a big one. And so in this particular exercise, Satipatthana, it's going through very, very carefully, repeatedly, each of the 6 of these sense doors, and talking about seeing the sense door, seeing the object. Now, for this first one, sight object, knowing the eye that's seeing, knowing the knot that's between them. And more than that, in style of how this teaching goes, it's also knowing the manner in which that knot arises, seeing it appear, and then letting go of it. And this seeing the appearance of a knot is, when it first occurs, is this amazing vantage point where it's easier to let go. So relaxed seeing, noticing how the eyes get locked in, knotted up, but noticing just as it occurs, and then letting it go. So for today, as you go about your day, next 24 hours, you might give special attention to seeing, and see if you can learn greater ways of looking in a relaxed way, calm looking, relaxed looking, where the eyes can kind of look at things and study them even, but do it in a very relaxed, receptive mode. And that as you kind of get a hang of that, maybe then you can start noticing when the eyes are not that way, when they're locked in or straining or something, and that is the knot. And maybe you can let go of it. So that's the introduction to this topic of this week, the mindfulness at the 6 sense doors. So, thank you.